Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so this is a very special reunion 2020 episode today. So what is that? That's when I bring on a guest I had on back in the past, and I bring him right on back because I like him so much I had to get him on for another show. So today's guest is Peter Grambs, and he's the president over at Powerfluence. Peter, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Adam, great to be here.
Oh, man, so we had a great year on the podcast and going into 2020, and I'm excited to get into our conversation today about AI and what you find interesting there. But before we do that, I don't want to assume all our new listeners caught the first episode. So let's just start with what you're doing over at Powerfluence. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure, happy to. So at Powerfluence, we actually have two divisions. One is our digital division where we focus on AI in particular, and we also have some digital HR solutions. Then we have our Salesforce division where we broadly work on Salesforce projects and implementations with a focus on Lightning and MuleSoft.
That's awesome. And so that the people that are listening to this, so they have a little bit of a context if you're the right fit for them, what type of clients do you typically like working with?
So we generally work with the mid-market and enterprise clients, and, makes sense. These are the ones who are going to be making use of complex AI solutions and other digital solutions and things like Salesforce and such.
Awesome. And I think that's a great transition. So let's get into today's topic. So AI, what interests you in AI in 2020?
Well, AI, I think probably the most fascinating thing is how misunderstood it is. You see, actually, I was just reading something the other day about how we have to be forewarned about how AI is going to take over things and some of these jobs are going to be at risk. And while there is some truth to that, and you have an obvious thing like driverless cars, but that's a good example because we've been hearing about the future of driverless cars for years now, yet you aren't seeing them on the road, and you probably won't see them on the road for a while. And that is going to have an impact, but AI has huge potential in the workplace that is going to have either zero impact on jobs or going to be a job creator. I mean, some of the things we've worked on in like financial services where it's a great example where an AI application is actually enhancing the ability of financial analysts to come up basically with better predictions and do better investments. Not only is it not displacing anybody, but it's a win-win. The analysts are going to be better at their job. They're going to be making more money. Their customers are going to get a better return and getting more out of it. And that's where we see the huge potential for AI. But the conundrum of AI is that while there is this huge potential, there's a lot of hesitancy around it. We talk with a lot of folks out there, and they're just unsure how AI is going to fit into their business. You can show a great return on it, how it is should be a fit, but then, how do they get into the business? Because typically something complex technology like AI is going to be brought into the IT groups, but in most cases we see the business being the champion around AI because they recognize the great benefit it's going to have, but then they don't know how to purchase and implement something, a complex technology like that. So we see a lot of internal debate going on, and then in the end, a lot of times you just have a stalemate and nothing happens. So it's a slow-moving revolution, but it really is going to be a revolution because the power behind what AI offers. I mean, people use Alexis and Siri out there, and those are all powered by AI, and Amazon's Shopper Engine and all that has huge AI components. So, we see the benefit. We're using it in everyday lives, but just, the future of it is, I'd say we haven't tapped into 5% of what AI is going to be able to bring to the marketplace.
Yeah, that's awesome. And whenever I hear the whole jobs argument, I always think, and this is not my knowledge, by the way. I might have seen it on a billboard. I don't know where I saw it, but I'm like, Henry Ford put all the buggy whip makers out of business. And I'm like, but look what Henry Ford did. He created this, obviously not just himself, but with the advent of the assembly line, all these other things he created, you could argue with the assembly line, the auto industry changed manufacturing, and which also led to the assembly line being used to make, things for military and all these other things. So look at the amount of jobs that were created that we couldn't have, he didn't fathom, or we couldn't have fathomed in those days. So now when I think of AI, I'm like, it's the same thing. It's like it's going to change, but it's going to be this explosion, this renaissance that's going to provide more jobs in a lot of different things. We don't even know what they'll be. So I tell people this all the time. I say, well, you know what? I couldn't have told you when I was in college that I wanted to be a podcaster when I grew up. I don't know if podcasts were around then. So, like, a lot of the jobs that we're going to have in the future, we don't even know what they are. Like, they haven't been invented yet. So that being said, to me, AI just interests me. It gets me excited.
So absolutely. I mean, you really read my mind on that, because that was where I was going with it. That it's definitely a revolution. We've seen several revolutions in the whole technology sphere, starting way back in the 60s. But all along, while they have a destructive component, they have a huge creative component, and now we have this huge IT sector of developers and technicians and database folks and AI practitioners, and those weren't around 10, 15 years ago. We're going to continue to see that, and it's tough on folks that get hit by this, but that's where you need business and really government to step in and do retraining and make opportunities available, because going back to as far as you want, there are all these changes that happen, technologically driven, that cause uproar and revolution, but in the end, it creates more and makes all our lives better. You just have to live through it and make a path that does make it better for everyone and allows people who are displaced to find a place in it. And we continue to have a shortage of developers. It's a huge problem. There's a huge shortage of AI practitioners and big data analysts, and those are actually the best paying jobs in high tech right now. And so those are just creating opportunities, and that's what's going to happen with the AI revolution as it continues to go on. It's going to help improve businesses, help get better return, help customer intimacy, customer experience, and it's going to change some things, but we have to find a way to make that work for everybody, for sure.
No, that's awesome. Well, Peter, I could talk to you about this all day long, but we're just about out of time. But before we go, if somebody's listening to this, Peter, and they want more information on Powerfluence or to learn more about what you do, what's the best way for them to connect and to reach out?
We can connect with me directly, peter.grambs at powerfluence.com, or go to our website, powerfluence.com, and, happy just to have a conversation about this. I learn as much as people learn from me when I talk to executives and business folks about what they're looking at with AI. And, glad to have that conversation, and you never know where it can go from there. We'd love to work with folks on coming up with strategies, around digital transformation and AI, because, we know there's a lot of people trying to figure this out. Just about every major business is involved in this, but there's still so many question marks on how to figure out where to find the best place in the business, where to get the best expenditure of scarce IT funds right now.
Awesome. Well, hey, Peter, really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing more about your background and, all the great work you're doing over at Powerfluence and a fun discussion about AI. So thank you again for coming on. And to the audience, as always, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you had a lot of fun listening. If you did, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast. If you're listening to our YouTube channel, if you're more of a YouTube person on Money Matters Top Tips, I want to hear some comments from you in the comment section. Tell us about your views on AI. Love to engage with you and can keep the discussion going. And Peter, thanks again for coming on the show.
Great, you bet, Adam. Take care. Bye.